like a meme because I say that every time.
All right.
All right, come on, right here.
This is going on YouTube? Yeah. Oh, it's going everywhere, right?
It's going everywhere.
What up, guys? I'm Ariel, this is Oscar, and welcome to You're Up Next.
Nice.
Perfect.
That was awesome.
Perfect. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys coming on. We went from seeing each other in the gym all the time, and I'm happy that we're able to kind of dive into your guys' story. I think Dre knows a little bit more about it than I do personally, but he just based off what he's mentioned, you guys like come from a super interesting background, and like you guys make really good content too. Yeah. So we thought it would be like super insightful for content creators and also people kind of like fitness journey wise and career wise too. So thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're very blessed to have y'all. We really just want to share the stories of super genuine people who have amazing things to share and tell.
Oh, so shoot,
we're excited. People? Genuine is the key word. Yes.
Cool. We're genuine.
So how would 100%. How would you guys describe like kind of what you guys do currently?
I have no idea. So I like dabble in like a lot of stuff. So I think like most people know me as the guy that makes cringy videos / funny videos on the internet in the gym. I think that's like the best way to describe. And then I also like online coach and then do some marketing and stuff like that. But I think most people know me as the video guy.
The cringe fitness humor guy.
Cringy / funny / fitness videos.
I've never thought cringy watching your videos. That's a serious
Some
thing.
of them are cringe, but they're like cringe in a good way.
But I do it on purpose.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Some people find it's like a different kind of humor. When someone's being cringy, like it hits a little bit different than something that's like just funny. If that makes sense.
I like the water bottle ones.
The water bottle ones? Which ones?
The ones where you're like watching her from the water bottle at bowling.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know, a lot of people like that one. I just did it as just like I got to get 1 of 2 posts up today, so I just knocked that one out real quick.
Yeah,
but it turned out to be pretty good.
I think everyone liked it. The coolest thing that you guys do is nothing you do is a trend. You make up all your video ideas.
See, a lot of people say that. I will sometimes do trends, but I only like doing trends if I can add like a little twist to it,
like an Oscar flair,
like an Oscar flair, like a little like unexpected, like if a trend, everyone gets used to a trend, and then I do something a little different, and it catches people off guard because they're so used to the trend, and that's the only way I'll do it. But
and that's how most of our ideas end up. So we'll throw ideas out there, and then essentially that's what it is. It's like, oh, this is a pretty good idea, but how are we gonna, make it pop?
Is it basically all like testing? You know, you guys are testing like what's going to be working, what's not, kind of like throwing shit together like at the last minute, or is it all pre-planned?
It's see, I find I feel like a lot of people think I have all these ideas planned, but every day I wake up, I have no idea what I'm recording.
So interesting,
right? Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, like when you're in school, right, and you have to like put out an essay, and then if you do it early, you're like just sitting there like, I don't know what to write, blah blah blah. But if you do it last minute, something's gonna come up, and that's kind of what I do with myself every morning. Is like, all right, I got to come up with 2 ideas right now in 30 minutes, and then I'll just pull something out. And most of the time, when I first started, they weren't that good, but now like they're pretty decent ideas.
Then you mentioned it was like it was kind of like a muscle that you're training, like just like fitness content. Like I remember when Austin came onto the team, he was like, "Dude, how do you come up with so many different video ideas for like training biceps?" And it's like, well, once you get good at it, you just put your own flair on it, like a million different ways, and you never really run out of content ideas because they're never ending. You can make them your own, you know.
Yeah, no, I think every time I have conversations with people that watch my videos, they tell me like, dude, how are you so original? How do you like come up with these ideas? How do you not run out of ideas? And I truly believe that anybody can be creative, right? Because like how you just said, like creativity, like I truly believe it's a muscle. The more you train it, right, the better, and the more it grows, the better it gets. Yeah. So I think anybody can be really creative, just like anything. Some people are like, it's going to take them a little bit longer, but just keep doing it more and more. Yeah. And that's why I will try to plan videos every single day. So I'm like, my creativity muscle endurance is still there. But if I go like, I don't know, like 4 days without like coming up with an idea, then I realize it gets a little out of shape, and I got to like get back on it. And the first like 2 videos I put out will be a little shitty before, you know, that muscle memory of the creativity muscle kicks back in. So I think, I think anybody can be creative.
And I'm also curious, like how you guys basically like got here in the first place. You know, we can call it your origin story, if you will, but like Just kind of like, and you can bring us back as far as you want, because I feel like there's a lot of value in just hearing how people even started doing what they're currently doing now, you know?
I will. So it's a pretty long story, but I'm gonna try to just get to the important parts.
When a man loves a woman.
When a man loves a woman.
You can tell the story. You don't have to condense it.
Yeah,
we definitely want.
We're gonna be talking here for over an hour. So.
Yeah.
I'll kind of skip through all like the stuff that doesn't matter to me. I mean, I was like your basic like, in high school. Loved like every sport. I always wanted to try different things. I think I did every sport in high school just because I always wanted to try something new. Right. I was like that like classic. I didn't know what I was gonna do going into college because in my head, not to sound cocky, but like I felt like I could do anything. Right. I felt like I was good at anything, and everybody always tells you like, hey bro, you can do anything you want. And I'm just like, what? And because of that, I went like into college not knowing what I was doing. And I started off with a physiology major because at one point I was going to be like a medical examiner person, just because I liked the show called Bones, and they would dissect the bodies.
Oh, so like the person who, like after they die.
Cause of death. Like they determine cause of death and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. And I started it. I remember immediately I did biology, hated it, right? I was like, this
worst
is
subjects ever, biology,
chemistry,
all that shit.
Dude, it got me questioning my career choice just because of one class. But I mean, you guys know, like, the class it's not your career. It's just a class, right? And I remember I was like, dude, I questioned everything. I changed my major. I did engineering for like 2 years. And then same thing, right? It was fun at first, right? I was good at it. I learned coding. I did like all the languages, all that kind of stuff. And then once I started getting more hands-on to what my life was going to look like, it looked like just sitting down on a computer for hours and hours at a time, right? So that's when I was like, all right, we're going to change the major again. I think I went through like 5 majors after that until finally one day. I've always liked fitness because I was the friend that I would always help other people, how to get in shape. And then I also played volleyball. Volleyball was my main sport, right? So I played all these other sports, but volleyball was like my best sport. I honestly thought at one point I was going to be a professional volleyball player. So I went to the U of A, University of Arizona in Tucson, and
that sounds like a fun time.
It was a fun time. Yeah. I mean, if you're social, if you're not like me, then you're not gonna really, get around much.
I was never into like frat stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. It was pointless to me. I just didn't enjoy it. Anyways, I was training to make it on the U of A volleyball team, and I was training. That was when I really started working out. I wouldn't work out for like appearance or like muscle growth. I would just work out for performance, right? Raise my vertical, be faster, quicker. I was a hitter, so I wanted to hit just hard and like, I don't know. And
a hitter is the guy who goes over the net?
Yeah, I guess like if you don't it's like a spiker, attacker.
Spikes.
Okay.
Right? That's how you can like say it. But yeah, so that was when I got into fitness, and I really liked because I would help my other friend. I was like, he wanted to make the volleyball team too, and I trained him. He got really good, and he made it, and I didn't.
No way.
And so I was like, at one point, I think I tried for 3 years, and I kept just getting cut. Right, I kept getting cut, and at one point, I remember overhearing the coaches. I don't know, I didn't even know this coach, but I remember overhearing him because everyone was like, oh, dude, that guy's so good. And he's like, he's not that good. Like, he was like not hating on me, but for some reason, I didn't know him. He just would find every excuse to tell everybody else, like, no, but look, he doesn't jump that high. And I was like, dang, what did I do to you? You know what I mean? And at that point, I was like, all right, I need to do something different. But yeah, after going through all these majors, I finally was like, you know what? I didn't think there was money in fitness at the time. I thought it was just one of those things that people pick because they love it, but they sacrifice making money, the moment you go into fitness. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something I like. And that's when the whole fitness stuff started. I changed my major to, Professional Fitness Training and Exercise Science.
Really?
Wonderful. That's a nice one.
It's a good title.
Yeah. And then at that point, that's when I was, again, school, just finished it up. I graduated, and that's when while I was at school, I became a trainer at Snap Fitness. Have you ever heard of Snap Fitness?
Yes.
So Snap Fitness is really easy because it's a franchise, and when you become a trainer at a Snap Fitness, it's an independent trainer. So if you're like by the way, if you want to get into the fitness industry, that's one of the best. Go to a Snap Fitness and be like, hey, I want to be an independent trainer, right? Because it's a win-win situation. You either get clients and they take 40% of whatever they're paying, or you don't and they don't lose anything. Right. The only thing that I would say the only risk is liability if you're like doing something weird. But yeah, so I did that. Automatically started getting a bunch of clients. I knew like the hustle that it took, because you realize real quick when you become a trainer that clients are just gonna like come to you and you're going to get a whole bunch of people that want to sign up to you. Like, especially as an independent trainer, you have to like hustle for your clients.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just sit around. And so I would like live at the gym. I would just stay there all day and just socialize. Right. As an introvert.
Were you already a social person or no?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. I knew the moment I decided to go into the fitness industry, I was like, I'm gonna need to find a way to be more social because I'm the opposite of social. I'm the quietest kid in class, just does their work, doesn't really like in the cafeteria, tries to be alone, kind of like I was that kid. So going in the fitness industry, I was like, if I want to like do decent, I need to socialize. I need to talk to people. So I would just stay at the gym, talk to people, and then just like that, I started getting clients. I kind of knew my stuff for the most part just from doing it. And then little by little, I started working my way up. They liked me, so they're like, hey, can we put you on a salary? Okay, cool. And then they put me on a salary. And then after a couple years, again, they liked me. I got this opportunity to move to this other location with, I had a boss, his name was Kurt Vollers. So Kurt Vollers, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, but he played for the NFL for 4 years.
Okay.
I think it was 2 years for the Cowboys, 2 years for the Colts. He got arrested for drug trafficking, and he had just got released. But in my head, I was like, because he was making millions, right? When doing drugs and stuff. When I met him, he was very good at talking to people.
You described this when you told me this story in a really interesting way. Do you remember the way you described it?
No, what was it?
You said he sold me by speaking to me on the idea of working for him, and I knew exactly what he did, and I wanted to learn how to do that.
Yes, I remember because he called me up. I was on my lunch break for the other gym. I was getting ready to go back to work, and he calls me, and he was a very interesting guy, and he kind of like was have you ever heard of the sales term assumptive close?
Yes.
When you already like talk to a client, like they're already going to sign up. So he called me to offer me like a job, but he talked to me like I'm already going to work for him kind of thing. And I was like, okay, interesting. So I went to go see him. He's a 6'9" guy, introduces himself to me. Yeah, very big guy. Huge dude. I mean, he was I think he was a tailback. No, I don't remember, but he was a big dude.
It's a big running back.
Yeah, huge, right? And his energy just kind of like overwhelmed me. He like eye contact, dead in the eyes, talked to me, gave me a tour of the gym, basically sold me, like how you said, sold me on working for him. And I was like, being an introvert, I was like, that's what I need, right? I need to learn how to talk to people the way that guy's talking to me right now. So for that reason, I worked for him, and I worked for him for a while, learned a lot. At one point, I think he was having some issues with employees because I was independent training. And I got the opportunity to take over a gym, right? So I kind of became like a little bit of a troubleshooter, where I would get sent to a gym to kind of save it. Right, if it was in the negative.
Dude, I love that term when you said, like, I love that. You were that guy who went in there and saved the day.
It was kind of like a last hope guy. He was like, hey, I think Oscar, because I got very good at, it never felt natural. It felt like always like I would put on performance to be social and get a lot of sales, but I ended up being a very good salesperson. So for that reason, I remember there was this one gym, it was Snap Fitness in Broadway, very small gym. It was like doing really bad. I was able to go in there, help it out, but honestly, it wasn't enough. It was like so far gone. There was very little members, but I got into this other gym, and at the time, the owner, he's kind of like, he's a lot older, right? I think he's like old, and he wanted to retire. He's like, I'm either going to shut this gym down, Oscar, or if you can save it, I'll sell it to you. And sure enough, I was like, hell yeah, I like the gym. I was hesitant because the moment you decide to do that, you kind of like commit to, hey, if I take this gym over, I'm going to live here in Tucson, Arizona for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I'm going to slave away at this gym because
and is this a Snap Fitness or?
This was Desert Sport and Fitness. It was a franchise. It was a different franchise. Okay. But I made that decision out of like security, like out of like, you know what, I'll just take this paycheck. I think the paycheck at that time was like going to be at like $4,000, between $4,000 and depending how good the gym does, get a percentage. So it was more like a safe approach. I thought about it a lot, and it was almost like a sign because I remember, when I finally took ownership of the gym, we were killing it. I hired new employees, and it was a really good time. And I remember we put in like $14,000 to remodel the gym. And it looked super dope. Everyone loved it, right? We were doing all this marketing push and everything. And then that's when, I don't know if you guys remember the whole COVID situation, but at first it was...
What is that?
COVID?
I'm just kidding.
I was about to explain it to you in like a sarcastic way.
Completely kidding. I was in my house just locked in the basement for like a year and a half. I remember
dude, that was a rough time. But I remember
I could not imagine owning a gym with overhead in that time. Because like
the funny part is I wasn't that worried at first. Really? Like, yeah, because I didn't understand it. I've never been through something like, because I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like just a joke, right? It was like, I don't know, it was like China TikTok, and they would make fun of it. And there was like a lot of memes of COVID. So I was like, whatever, it's not going to come over here. And I remember how fast, like in the course of a month, it just started like getting louder and louder and louder. And then I was at the gym, I remember, and that's when it got pretty crazy, like there specifically in Arizona, and everyone was kind of getting a little stressed out, and I was like, nah, we're good, we're fine. And there was a lot of businesses shutting down out of courtesy, right? Out of like just, hey, we're going to shut down until we figure this out. You know, there wasn't an official quarantine yet, but all these gyms started shutting down out of courtesy and stuff. And all my members, I remember, were asking me, they're like, hey, Oscar, like, I'm worried about the gym. And I was like, dude, I will not close this gym down. I will not close this gym down unless the government comes over here and forces me out.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
And people were calling. I was answering the phones. I was telling all my trainers, like, hey, this is the script, right? We're gonna make people feel secure. Like, we are not gonna close the gym down until the government comes and forces us down.
So they literally like fly helicopters over and like crash through the window, like SWAT team, like they got guns on you. They're like shutting down.
It was like literally. So that whole morning I spent answering phone calls because all these other gyms were closing, and I was like, no. And then sure enough,
why do you like? I don't even understand why they were like, because I guess they must have thought it was like a 1 to 2 week thing, and that's why they were doing it out of courtesy, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you assume that?
That's what I think most people thought it was gonna be like a temporary thing. So hey, let's just close down for a little bit, and then the COVID goes away, and then we'll open back up. And like sure enough, that same day, literally my phone calls went from that, and within 5 minutes, I changed the script. I was like, hey, the government's forcing us down now. Like they're telling us to close down. Like we have to close down now. So I felt so bad because that whole morning it was like, no, like confidence. Hell yeah. Everyone was like hyping up, like, no, we're not closing down. And then, we're closing down. Like
the president of the United States called him.
It was,
I was like, yeah, you guys are done. For a second, I literally thought you were serious. I was like, you got his number still? I was like, I got to call him up.
I remember we had to shut down at 4 p.m. exactly, and I think when we changed the script, it was like 1 p.m. So we were like, oh shit, I'm gonna stay open until 4 p.m. But I told our trainers, everyone was freaking out. It was supposed to only be I think it was a week or two at first, right?
Got it.
And I was a little stressed out, but not too worried. I was like, oh, you know what, 2 weeks. I was already thinking, okay, we're gonna just make sure we push our small group training again, get the income back, and blah blah blah. Because when you have a gym, it's not like for all the businesses out there for COVID, you can't just not pay rent. Like you would, like in my head, I even thought, I was like, oh, the landlord's also gonna shut down,
they'll
whatever.
Let you go.
Yeah, they'll be like, no, it's cool, you don't have to pay because we're closed down. But no, like they're still charging you. And at that time, that gym rent on its own was like it was like $19,000, $18,500 to be exact. Every month.
Holy shit.
And the landlords were hitting licks. They were probably like, hey, it doesn't matter.
They were like, hey, take a loan out. And I was like, okay, 2 weeks. I was like scratching myself. I was like, that's fine. And then it got extended another 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. And I didn't share the details with you, but we were like, what do we do? Right? Because if this gym closes, it stays closed. We weren't sure. They kept pushing out the date. We weren't sure how long it was going to be closed. Yeah. And so we had to make the decision of either just shutting it down or opening it back up. Right. So we were like, you know what? Since we have nothing to do, we'll just film some content, post it on social media to give people like home workouts and stuff. So we were doing that. You know what? We might as well clean the gym up. Right. So we like brought in a whole crew to clean up the gym. They were like detailing the gym. Right. We might as well. Now when we open back up, right, we're germ-free, clean, no COVID. Everyone was not as worried. And I remember we took this huge chunk of the floor out, and there was this big old crack in the floor. And once we got it investigated, there was a broken pipeline underneath. And that was a sign of like, yeah, that's not gonna be fixed till August. We definitely can't like keep doing this for another 6 months and take out a business loan. So we made the decision just to shut down. And to be honest, like, we shut down so fast. That business, literally within half a day, we had a whole bunch of guys just come down with a bunch of trailers, loading up equipment, and we left a bunch of equipment in there. All our old stuff is still probably in the building right now.
So like, what does the process look like of like closing that down? Like, do you have to, cause it was like a franchise or something, right? And like, were you the owner of that? You were the owner of that specific location or in charge or whatever. And then like, you guys are just like, okay, fucking abandon ship, we're selling this shit off, or it's going to another location. Like, what is that like process?
It was basically the land. They had just got a new landowner, so he was like, after talking to him, he wasn't really like budging at all. It was just kind of like, hey, if you guys want out, you have to get out like right now. You have this many days to get out. So we're just like, all right, we got to pull the trigger. Literally took the sign down. Got a bunch of just guys and trailers. Everyone's just moving stuff out. There was people like in there, all these employees from the other franchise, other gyms too, just like, hey, do you want anything? Do you want anything? It was very quick. It was very fast.
And at this point, how are you feeling?
It still didn't hit me. So that's the funny part. I was just like I was confused, right? And I remember I had just got a new apartment too, and it was like expensive for me. You know, it was like a 1-bedroom. It was a nice apartment. I had just got it right before the whole shutdown happened. So I was kind of confused. I've always been like a calm, collected person. I've never really let pressure get to me. And I remember I was like a week later, I had clients messaging me. They were like, hey, why is the gym equipment? Isn't this our gym? Why is the gym equipment on Craigslist and stuff like that?
Oh my gosh.
And they would send me screenshots and
because everybody during COVID was on Craigslist looking for equipment.
Exactly. So I was getting messages, yo, Oscar, why is the sign down? Hey, what's up with the gym? And we had like over 2,000 members. It was like close to 3,000 members. And I was getting messages. My phone was blowing up. And that's when I started getting more into like the depressed stage, because I felt like I let everybody down. Like I was like that beacon of hope for everybody, and I felt like I let everybody down. And it's funny that Jan's here, because for the next 3 months after COVID, I don't think I've ever classified myself as like a depressed, like in the depressed state. I'm never like that, but that was probably like the closest right there, because I was. Have you guys ever heard of League of Legends?
Yes.
So I was literally slaving away at League of Legends, and because I don't know, video games does this thing where it's kind of like life, right? Most video games are kind of like life. They tell you what to do, and the more effort you put in and the more like missions you accomplish, the more you achieve this goal, right? But what video games has, or what life has that video game doesn't have, is risk.
Yes.
Right? Because in a video game, you just respawn.
You die,
right?
and
if
then
you fuck up,
right
then you come right back up. In real life, the factor that changes is that risk part. And so it's very easy to get immersed in the world of video games because you don't think about anything else. You don't think about what stresses you out. So for me, instead of feeling that pressure, that stress, I was just distracting myself. So for those 3 months, I was just distracting myself with video games. Me and my best friend right here that's watching, we would literally get online, wake up, just game all day. Maybe that's like crazy. Midday, I would be like, hey, I'm gonna get our Popeyes. Give me like 10 minutes. Oh my God. I would drive, get a bunch of tenders. And that was like the repeat for a while. And it wasn't obviously just me, right? The whole world during that COVID time was like super depressed, right? Everybody was like super down. We weren't sure what's going on. Everyone was like, I remember there was riots. I lived close to downtown. There was riots going on, breaking of windows downtown. It was like a pretty bad time. And after like 3 months, I was like, okay, this is not going away. I don't know how this sparked, but I was like, because I had to let all my employees go and everything. And I was like, somebody kind of has to step it up, you know, like somebody has to do it. Someone has to like be a beacon of hope again. And I obviously took that pressure, I think, because I'm the older brother. Like, you always have to set the example.
Yo, where the hell were you during all this?
In prison.
Oh my!
I want to hear that story now.
Right now. We'll get into that.
Oh my God!
He's a correctional officer.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I was like not even talking to my parents or anything. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I have to do something, right? So that's when we started the online coaching thing, and I started like making programs.
How'd you get into that? Real quick.
So in my gym, I already had online coaching kind of start. It was very simple though. It was very like, if people couldn't afford training, smaller training, it was like my last tier. Okay, how about this? How about we just give you a membership and you pay $140 a month, and I will tell you exactly what to do for your workouts, and I'll tell you exactly. And then every Sunday you just come in, do an in-body. But it was very hands off. It was like, here's what to do. So I already kind of started the online coaching thing, and it was just like an email check-in every month or every week. And so that's essentially what I did when I decided to start coaching again. And sure enough, there was a lot of people reaching out. Like a lot of people were struggling with COVID. They were depressed. So when I started doing that, a lot of people started reaching out to me, and they loved it, right? They were doing home workouts. They were getting creative, buying equipment. It was a good time.
Or were these people from like the gym, or people from all over? Or
it was
like
a lot
media?
of it was a lot of my members, but it was a lot of like random people too, right? A couple randoms from, but still kind of in the city, right? Still kind of in the same city. And that's when I started doing the online coaching. And I don't remember where. I saw a story of one of my ex coworkers, and they posted a podcast, and it was you guys know who B Mark is, right?
Yes,
Brian Mark, right?
Hey.
Shout out Brian Mark.
Shout out B Mark.
But he posted, and it was a really good one, and he knew how to do podcasts, and it just spoke to me, and I started listening to him, and he, like, with his podcast, just by listening to him, I started getting more clients just by listening to him.
Yeah,
right? I was like, shoot, I'm only charging $140, and he like helped me a lot without like me having to pay him anything.
Yeah.
People, let me actually interrupt. People do not understand the value, and this is like a kind of like almost like a shameless plug for me and Alan, because we coach. People do not understand the value of online coaching. You are getting your life transformed. You are getting the physique of your dreams for literally, from a gym owner, half the price of personal training in person, and it's more hands-on. Am I right or wrong?
No, yeah, bro. I got clients better results than I ever did when I was owning a gym online. Yes. Because of the fact that when you go on in person, it's like you pay for 2 sessions a week. Hey, I'm gonna see you Tuesday, Thursday, good luck on the weekend. That's how it is, right? You don't talk food, you don't talk anything. You just basically give them a good workout, make them sweat, and that's it.
You like baby them a little bit. You're just like, hey,
well, I mean, it's really all you can do in that position.
Yeah.
Like,
that's all you can do.
Like unless someone's paying like thousands a month, where they're coming in every day at the same time, plus their nutrition's being handled, like it's extremely hard to get the same results. That's why a lot of people like don't get too many results like with in person.
And the reason I said that was because not just like a random thought. It's like you were saying a thought where it's like, and B Mark taught me, and I'm assuming you mean B Mark taught me the value of like what that online coaching actually was. Am I right or wrong? And kind of like how to like charge more, because like $140 a month, you're providing what could be like a $500 a month service for $140. B Mark was probably like, hey, yo, like, go 300, meet him in the middle, like something like that. Am I right? Yeah.
Like if it was up to me, like I would not charge anybody to get in shape. But if I don't charge you, you're not gonna stick to it. Like you're not gonna do it. I have had so much family members reach out like, hey, Oscar, they know I'm a trainer. Help me out. One of the worst things I could do as a trainer is training for free, because you're not gonna take it serious, and that's gonna create bad habits for you. And then you're gonna wonder why you're out of shape for your whole life, and
you'll feel like a failure because you haven't completed the promises that you set out for yourself.
Exactly. And my whole thing was, how can I help more people? Right. When I was independent training one-on-one, I would train one person for an hour. I was like, I need to help more people. I'm gonna do 30-minute sessions so I can have more clients. And then I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna do small group training so I can have 8 clients at a time every hour. And the next step after that was just bigger classes. But sure enough, the next step was, okay, how can I help out more people than just my city section?
Yeah.
And that was online training. Right?
And I love that, because you came from a genuine place right there. You were like, how can I help more people? It was not how can I make more money. It was how can I help more people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And online coaching, sure enough, was, because online coaching, you're online. You can help. It's not just whoever's around you in your city. Now you can help out someone from another city or a different state or a different country. And when I started online coaching, I was getting people from all around the world, like right off the bat. I think one of my first clients was from Japan.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
that
crazy,
is awesome.
right?
That's wild.
It was someone from the U.S. that was in the military that was stationed in Japan. But yeah, someone from Japan. I started getting people from like different parts of the world. And sure enough, because I was listening to that podcast, I decided to sign up with the 10K Academy, which is his starter program for online coaches.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, we did that shit.
Yep.
It's now called Change Lives Academy.
I think he might have rebranded. I'm not sure.
I liked the 10K Academy.
Oh, is it?
I think he changed it to Change Lives Academy.
I know his podcast is
Change lives, make money.
Listen,
that's it. Right?
B Mark, the one thing I can say, like B Mark probably taught you as well. B Mark was just like, just do it. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, just freaking do it.
Success like speed.
Yes.
Oh my God, something got in my throat. But yeah, I mean, I mean, change life. That literally spoke to me. Change lives, make money. That was like the perfect title for the podcast, because you know how it is. Like you want to make money, but you want to change lives. You want to feel good about the way you make money.
I mean, I love the fact, and I think I can speak for Dre too, like the way that we make our living is directly correlated to how many people we help. And that's a good feeling, because like we're able to feel good about the work that we're doing. You know, I feel like maybe there's a little bit less of a love for a job that you're doing if you know that it's not impacting someone in like a way. Or
coaching is literally the most rewarding thing in the world.
It's very rewarding.
So rewarding.
And the one thing that people underestimate about being a good coach, is when you have like a lot of people that kind of rely on you when you're a leader, you have to be that much stronger mentally, because not only are you going to like share the wins with them, but you're going to share all their struggles. When I take a client on, I already know I'm going to take on their wins, but as well as all their struggles, all their problems and all this and that. So for me, I have to make sure that I'm like on point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, where did I leave off? Yeah, so I went into the 10K Academy. First month, it was like, I don't know, I made like $2,500 like right away. And I was like, oh shoot, like I already have enough to kind of be able to do, move somewhere else, right? Yeah. And that's when I was like thinking of Houston, because Christian at the time was going to open Alpha Land. It didn't open until like a couple months later, but it was around March of last year. Where he was gonna open Alpha Land. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move March, and I made a whole vision board. That was my first time that like I made my first
vision board. That activity.
I remember the vision board and the burning of something. He made you burn something.
Like sage.
Oh yeah, the initiation process. Yeah.
No.
What was it?
He made you burn a list of like things.
Yes, yeah.
It was
You wrote down doubts, and then you burned them.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I have no idea what I wrote down. I'm really curious. I wish I could see it, but I burned it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but it was like he basically made you write down what are 3 reasons that can make you not be successful, right? And then I was like, okay, I wrote them all down, and they were like, okay, burn it, and said take a video and post it in the group. I was like, okay, burned it, and then just I don't know. It was very cool, very interesting.
Yeah,
but
I
remember like I had to wait till my mom left, because she would have been like, "Why are you burning something on the freaking deck?" Like, and I'm like burning the paper. I'm like, ooh, like
I did it in the backyard. There was like my dog's shit was like everywhere in the dirt, and I just like was recording a video, and just the paper was on the dirt, just burning with like just shit all over it. But yeah. So that was the first time you made a vision board, and I think people underestimate vision boards. I think people think it's like a unnecessary. When you have to do them for school, you don't care, right? Because I've done something like my writing class or whatever, but when you do it for when your life's at stake, then you do one. It's very it's more important to nail the direction instead of the destination, and that's what a vision board does, right? It kind of sets a direction for you to go. And oh my gosh, hold on. Sorry, there's
you're good.
It's all good.
Water or something. But I made my first vision board, and in that vision board, I was like, move to Texas. And
that's so interesting.
That was like that was New Year, right? Whatever. And I started getting closer, and I started getting scared. I was like, oh shoot. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I was like thinking of all these doubts. I was doubting myself, and I was literally gonna back out. And that's when I knew in the moment that I had to move like then and there.
Yeah.
And I think within like 2 weeks, right? Was it 2 weeks? 2 weeks. I just like went on the website and I looked. 1879 was one of the contenders with Telfair Lofts, and I ended up moving to Telfair Lofts. But yeah, I didn't look at the apartment. I just saw the virtual tour. I was like, I hope it's nice. Moved over here. I just rented a U-Haul. It was still in that depressed stage, so like I just came over here. I told my parents last minute. They weren't surprised. They were like, you always don't tell us stuff. And I was like, no, I'm gonna go before I change my mind, kind of thing.
Did you come down here alone initially, or like?
I moved down here, and my parents wanted to help me with the moving, so they came with me.
Got it.
Yeah, so they came with me, dropped me off, and then they left. Then I was alone, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, what now? And I was scared because I wasn't social. Like I wasn't, like I tell her, like I'm very introverted, so I was like, how the heck am I gonna like talk to people here, make connections, and you know how you're supposed to do. And sure enough, I just had to get out of my comfort zone. And for that first year, it was a grind. I remember I started my online coaching. It was going relatively well, and I ended up competing for summer shredding.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
2020.
It was 2021.
Okay.
In October, or
it was in October.
October 2021. I remember that was the first summer shredding I ever watched. Do you remember what class you were in?
No, I have no idea. I
men's physique?
It was men's physique. Yeah, okay. Men's physique. But I remember I was making enough money to like feel a little bit comfortable. And once you get comfortable, it's very easy to get comfortable on like coaching.
Fucking hate being comfortable. So easy. It's the worst thing ever.
I think I was like, I don't know. I don't remember how much I was making, but I got so comfortable that I kind of just let up. Right. I was like, you know what? I didn't take on new clients. So I just had my existing clients.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened during that time. I was like, I was competing for the show, but everything started going wrong. Right. So like people were getting into financial issues. They started canceling. Payments weren't going through. And I was like not worried because I was already in my comfort zone. I was like, shoot. And then real quick, within 1 month, the last month of summer shredding, I lost a lot of clients. Like so many clients, and because again, I started getting comfortable, and
that's the hardest thing about online coaching is like if you get comfortable like that, if you don't actively try to pursue like and get clients, like you are screwed. That means you like people drop off. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It happens. You know?
At that point, it becomes a sinking ship. Like you just like you're sinking, and in my head, I was like, okay, after the competition, I'll get it together, whatever. Right after the competition, I'll get it together. I'm just gonna focus on the show right now. Okay, cool. And then the peak week, I actually got COVID. I didn't know I had COVID. I was like, hey, coach, I'm like throwing up and like this and that, and like I'm feeling horrible. And I thought it was just peak week stuff, you know, like just you're tired, you know, you've been doing a bunch of cardio, but it wasn't adding up because I was doing peak week. I was doing less cardio. I was getting more food, and I felt worse and worse. And then I went on stage. And you could probably look up at the YouTube replay, and I went up, started smiling, and the lights just like hit my eyes. I started bawling, crying.
My God.
So I'm on stage just bawling. Like my eyes were red, and you could just see like pouring tears.
Is it because you were like, you felt euphoric and happy, or was it literally just because the lights were in your eyes?
No, it was because COVID, like it was like the sun or the light like triggered your like sinuses and stuff like that. So like I was just, my eyes started burning, right? It started burning, and I was just trying to hold it, smile. I couldn't hold my pose. I was like losing it up there. But on the video, you can't tell. Like I'm keeping it together pretty well, but I was just like screaming in the inside. And sure enough, we've been looking forward to it. You guys know Sushi Masa, right? It's a sushi buffet place.
The best sushi place in Houston.
Best sushi in Houston, Jordan. And the Mecca.
Yes.
That is the Mecca of all
so
restaurants.
Before you continue, I was watching this from home with my family. So we're all gathered around the big TV. You know, well, not a big TV, but anyway, we were gathered around. We were watching
your brother crying.
No, well, actually, I don't think it was visible, right? I don't think the tears were visible.
The quality wasn't good enough.
The quality wasn't good enough, but we're sitting around the TV watching it. My mom's like recording on her phone. She's like screaming and making all these noises. And I'm looking at Oscar, and at this time he had long hair. Like, how long was your hair?
No, I didn't have long hair.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because I cut it when in my depressed stage in COVID.
Okay, well, anyway, he was... I've always like saw him as a skinny guy, but when I saw him on stage, I could tell something was off. And I don't know if it was like just his body. Like I know from a viewer's perspective that stuff, you know, it takes a toll on you. So I was like, this guy looks different. That's how I saw it, but I didn't realize, and I didn't know until like you told me like a month ago.
Yeah, you know how you have like your stage weight, like really lean? Well, I was 10 pounds under my stage weight, which was really weird.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like, maybe I'm more shredded. I don't know. But yeah. So anyways, we went to Sushi Masa afterwards, and it didn't occur to me because during the show, when we were like backstage and stuff, I was eating sour strips to get a pump, you know, but I thought I was so focused on my show. I didn't really care for whatever I was eating. I was just trying to get carbs in. And then we go to Sushi Masa. I'm super excited for it. Finally, we've been waiting for it for a long time. And the first batch comes out, and I start eating it, and I'm like, this tastes like crap. It tastes like mashed potatoes with no flavor. And I was like, let me try this other one, right? And then I started putting it together. I was like, your
taste is gone.
My taste and my smell are both gone completely.
Yeah.
And when you guys, if you got COVID and you lost your sense of like taste and smell, like you can taste, like if you lick a wall, it tastes like something, right? But when you have COVID, nothing tastes like nothing. Like there's no taste. Yeah, like if you say like something that's supposed to taste like nothing, like
it'll have a taste.
It'll have a taste, you know. But like when you have COVID, you can't taste anything. And so, anyways, I had COVID. It took me like 2 weeks to like recover from, because I was not only was I had COVID, I was on peak week and whatever. I was like
you lost clients. You
had
COVID.
Had COVID.
Peak week.
Peak week.
Sushi masa tasted like mashed potatoes.
Sushi, everything tasted like mashed potatoes.
And
It was like wet diaper.
You licked a wall.
Yeah, you licked the wall.
Dude, it was honestly,
I'm
it gets a little fun, bro. I was like squeezing lemon in my mouth just to see if I like anything. Nothing. Nothing.
That's crazy.
That's absurd.
Yeah, it was really trippy, but the whole like thing was I was supposed to get my business together on the show day, you know, after the day after, and it just stalled it out. And I remember going to I was binging, right? Because as soon as I got my taste back, not only have you just been dieting for like, I dieted for a long time. It was like 5.5 months, right?
Oh shit.
Not only have you been dieted for a long time, but on top of it, you lost your taste and smell.
Yeah.
So now that you can eat and you got your taste back, I like that whole like what did they call it? Post-show
rebound.
Post-show rebound.
The rebound.
Post-show depression's like a big thing too.
It went hard.
What was like your worst binge that you remember?
Holy shit!
Like what
dude.
foods did you have?
See, this is the thing. Like I can eat like an asshole. Like I'll eat like a full blown asshole. Like
You like eating the booty?
Mashed potato
I probably wouldn't have been able to taste it, to be honest. But no, like I remember I went to the HEB. I bought a bunch of like chocolate chip cookies, Oreos, like even stuff I didn't like, bro. I was just buying everything. I was like, I just want to eat. And you know what? I started playing League of Legends again. You know, I was like, fuck it. You know, I'm sick anyways. Whatever. I started binging. And the funny thing, even if you have no taste and smell, that's how you know sugar's a drug. Because like, even though I couldn't taste it and how good it was, I wanted more. I would crave it.
That's crazy.
It's so interesting. And then I went on my other like binge run or binge haul or whatever. I went to Fry's or Kroger, I think they call it here. And I was checking out whatever. I had just been like ignoring my problems. And I was at the cash register and I swiped my card, whatever, you know, and she's like, "Do you have another card?" And I was like, "Oh, try it again." I was like so stubborn. It's never happened to me before. I've never had a card decline before. She's like, "Swipe it again." No, again. I was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh shit." And I was like, I wanted to make sure she knew I wasn't completely broke. So I was like, "Just leave the cart right here. I'll be back. Let me just go like fix some things." Right. And I was able to. And yeah, I was broke, right? I was broke. So I was like, oh, shoot. I had $27. It was something like that, $27. And I remember the difference between me being able to afford my groceries and not was I had to grab a pack of Oreos, walk it back and like set it back on the shelf. And then I could afford my groceries. And that was like the moment it kind of like ticked because I was like, oh, shoot, rent's in a week. I couldn't afford my groceries. What am I going to eat? How do I even buy water? I have zero money and I didn't really have income. My clients weren't going to get billed till the next month, the few I had. And I was like, I need to get it together like as soon as possible. And then that was like the launch into like, when you can't pay rent and you can't like, you go through, you literally have zero money. And I was like, even like, I got so anxious. I had like anxiety attacks. I couldn't sleep at night. My heart was, you know, like when you get that feeling like deep down in your throat and it's like a really strong feeling.
Like the Sunday scary feeling.
That's
how I describe it.
It's Sunday scary.
So Sunday scary is basically like some people have like different like definitions for it, but like it's kind of like you're afraid for tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's like you're so worried about what tomorrow is going to bring and you're so worried about like what's happening that like you just can't even like relax. It's like almost like it sits in your throat.
It sits in your
throat. Like it's like before you cry, like when your throat
Yeah,
gets sensitive.
yeah. Exactly.
Like that's how you feel.
It's
all
like
the time.
it's like a dark feeling. It's literally anxiety. It's like at its peak, right? And you can't think. It's like a deer in headlights, right? You're about to run it over, and it's super scared, but because of that, it freezes. Right. It just like, so you freeze. So I was essentially, I was frozen. I didn't know what to do. I didn't feel like I hadn't, like, I wasn't sure what to do. Like I wasn't. And I remember the difference was, after a while, I was so embarrassed, right? When you're like the oldest child, like in your family, there's so much pressure that you put on yourself. There might not even be that much pressure. Honestly, my parents are like, dude, if you were like a janitor, like we support, not saying janitors are bad, but, like they support me no matter what I do.
That's a beautiful
But
thing.
you're just doing it for yourself.
But,
you know what I mean? You're putting that pressure on yourself so that you can live up to your own expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just put so much pressure on yourself. You're the oldest sibling. You got to set the example. And I remember that was my last like resort. One of the reasons I moved to Houston was because I knew if I stayed in Arizona, my parents were always going to be there as a safety net. So I moved that way. That wasn't an option, right? I burned the bridge of my parents being able to help me out. And so my last resort, I ended up calling my parents and just hearing, like as soon as I hopped on this, it was a video call. I don't know why I told them to do a video call, but as soon as I hopped on the video call, I started bawling, crying.
Damn.
And they were like thinking the worst. They were like, oh no, is he like a drug addict or something? Like what's happening? Like he hasn't talked to us in a while. Like they were thinking the worst. And when I told them that like it was like literally just money, they were like, oh, like that's it? They were like, you'll always find more money. Like that's the last thing you should be worried about. I thought it was going to be like a drug addiction or something like that. And they knew how to talk to me to really calm me down.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to get unfrozen for that little bit. But I mean, I still had to like grind to make money. So I remember in that week, I signed up in 1 week, 10 clients, like just in that week, just from like going ham, DMing people,
it's a
bam.
beautiful thing.
And I think the income was, I don't know, it was like 5,000, like just right off the bat. And that was like the start of me recovering. And then the new year started and I started going, I never liked to do like workout videos and stuff. It was fun, but I feel like there's plenty of workout videos out there. I was like, I want to do something different. So I would add that humor aspect, started doing skits because I would come up with these ideas. They were a little bit more fitness. I would do like a mixture of tips and tricks, but then I just started liking the funny stuff a lot more. And
are we in 2022 at this point, or are we still in like 2021?
We are in the end of 2021 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, like the holiday kind of like moments. And I remember I made a commitment. I was like, okay, because in 10K Academy, it's like post a reel every single, or TikTok every single day, and so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, I made a commitment. I'm gonna post one TikTok every single day. And I don't care how bad it is.
You weren't a TikTok guy, were you?
No, I was a TikTok hater. I hated TikTok. I was like, nah, like I don't. But Gabby would always send me like TikToks and memes. She had to like send me the links of them because I didn't even have TikTok downloaded. And I was like, all right, B Mark saying to post on TikTok. So I started posting like every single day, no matter what, no matter how bad the video was. My first couple of skits were, if you look at them, you're probably like, oh yes, this is pretty bad. But I was like, no matter what, I want to post something.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Is like you post it no matter what, and then you get in the habit of actually posting, and then you can refine.
Exactly. And sure enough, not missing a single day for about a month straight, I started getting a couple like videos pop off into the 20Ks and the 30Ks and then a 500K. I was like, oh shoot. So then I started kind of molding like, oh, this is what they like. Okay, cool. I'm going to start like molding, my content a little bit. And then that's how it started escalating the social media thing. I was getting more applications from my clients. And that was the process of me recovering. And I started noticing I really liked the skit stuff. I liked online coaching because I get to help people, but I also liked, this. So I started doing more skit, really putting a lot of energy into it. And then, yeah, sure enough, that's how we got to where we are now. And now, social media is blowing up, Reels, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I think I posted for 15 months straight on social media without making a single dollar. And then this year is when I started making money from social media.
You had a pretty crazy video pop off on was it Facebook or TikTok? And like, what was the video that popped out that was like the most views you've ever had? Because I remember you told me this number and I was like,
50 million, right? Or more? Is it more now?
It's probably like at 65 million right now. Yeah.
65 million. What was that video?
The one with you and Gabby in it?
That one was the one with me and Gabby. I've had other ones pop off like 30 million and so on and so forth, but that one set the record.
What was this video? I'm very curious.
There was a couple that I did before I moved down here that were like viral, like 30 millions and so on and so forth. Like there were trend starters. I don't know if you guys remember the trend where people would like do it was a videographer trend actually. It was when people would do like the behind the scenes of a videographer. Like,
did you start that trend?
Well, I started this specific one. So, and then you would like see the trend and it was like really sick edit. And it was like, oh, cool. Cause you see the behind the scenes first and then you see the sick edit. I was like, what if it wasn't? Like, what if it was like just a really shitty video? Cause I was like, I don't know how to make a sick edit, but what if I like lead them on like I'm going to? So I did this video where I did the behind the scenes and I got like a foam roller and I was like making it look like, oh, what the fuck is he doing?
I've seen this exact video before I even knew you. And you had a foam roller and you were like this, right?
Yeah, I was like rolling on the ground and everyone was like, it builds anticipation. It's like, oh shoot, how's this video gonna come out?
Did you sprinkle chalk?
No, but I know who did that one, and they did it off of mine. Yeah, they remixed it, and actually theirs did. I think it got like 5 million more views than mine's did, which I was like a little bit like sass or salty, but I didn't care. I was like, hell yeah, you know, it's a trend, cool.
Yeah.
And that
do you get mad when people copy your stuff or add their own flair on it?
I mean, that's how trends start. Like a lot of people are like, they get so like possessive over their content, but I'm just like, no, like, dude, I want to see your ideas. Just tag me so I can see them and I can laugh. Like I'll try to save there's been a couple trends I started, but that was the first trend I ever started. And I remember it meant a lot to me because I remember seeing it on Nabil reshared it.
Okay.
Nabil reshared it on his story, and I was like, oh shoot. I was like, dang.
Shout out to Nabil. He's a good friend of ours.
He's awesome.
He's an amazing person.
He's an amazing dude. And yeah, and I was like, okay, that was the first trend I ever start. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, then I started just diving into TikTok. At the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone and socialize a little bit more with people at Alphaland. Otherwise you see me and I just look like, I think people say I have like a resting bitch face a little bit and they don't like know me too well. So I started getting in my comfort zone. I remember I was talking to, you guys know Megan? Megan Waits.
Yes.
Megan Waits. So she was one of the first people.
I've met Mark.
I know Mark.
Never met Megan.
Mark's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, Megan, she was an online coach too, and they had just moved down to Houston too. So I did a collab with her. She never has had like a viral video. So that was like her eye opening to all the haters. And I remember seeing her in my notifications, just like arguing with everybody in the comments and stuff. And I was like, just ignore, don't feed into it. I was like, whatever. But, yeah. And then a bunch of viral videos later, you know, that's where I am here. I feel like a lot of people, I just like grew the presence on social media. That's why most people knows me as like the funny skit guy.
The thing about your skits is they're extremely, extremely, extremely high quality.
I mean, that's, I would say extremely high quality.
No, they're high quality.
They're high quality with like content. Like it's like really entertaining.
Oh,
content.
gotcha. I thought you meant like visual.
I actually meant visually as well. You're right. But like the vision, like your camera, your color grading, like the way you have it set up is very, very, very appealing to the eye.
It's funny because I had bought that camera for like to start my YouTube channel like 4 years ago, but never used it. It was just sitting there collecting dust. And it wasn't until I started doing these skits that I was like, I should like stop using my phone and use this camera that I have, you know. And then it did make a difference on the quality and just, I mean, you level up your content. You know, more people see it, and they're gonna like expect like high. If you have good quality, then your content better be really good.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like then. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, like, if you don't mind sharing, I know you told me the number in private, but I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing, but like most people don't know that Instagram can pay you. They don't know that Facebook can pay you. Like, are you comfortable with sharing like what a viral video like can make you if you know, if it pops off and it gets like 50 million views plus?
50 million views, yeah.
Yeah, it's not as, actually, I don't know if it's as much as people think. I don't know what people expect a viral video to get you, but honestly, it depends on one platform, but a viral video doesn't make that much money, to be honest. But, like, for example, a 60 million view video will make you around 6,000.
Wow.
Like
off
6,000.
One platform.
So I would say it depends on the platform.
Okay.
That's only TikTok, a 60 million view would get you, say, $700.
You kidding me?
Yeah, it's not that much. Maybe not even 700, maybe like 600. Right? I had a video that was like 15 mil on TikTok. And it got me like $450. I don't know. It wasn't much. I was definitely not relying on TikTok for, you know, my income.
Yeah.
Right? I was relying on a lot of other things. But Instagram and Facebook they were trying to catch up to TikTok, especially more during the beginning of this year. So they started paying creators a lot more and
started pushing reels and stuff.
And stuff. So that's kind of gives you some insight. I think most people are going to make their money from sponsorships and all that kind of stuff, especially in the content creating world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ariel, you were literally learning kung fu on a mountain during
I know,
this time.
I'm sitting here, I'm like,
you were learning kung fu on a mountain as an undercover FBI agent.
That's awesome.
Right?
How'd
like
you
during this whole
man.
thing. Now we need to hear yours.
I don't even, we should have started with me.
I just to like kind of introduce.
That's all the time we got, guys.
No, we're good.
How old are you?
I'm 27. I just turned 27.
27?
I'm 24.
24.
I have to think about it, but yeah, 3 years apart.
Yeah.
So
how'd you get involved with like working with him now?
Well, actually, he's been in my life since the day I was born.
Yeah, it's because we're siblings.
Even we might not look like it, but
I see.
Do we look like siblings?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, in the nose.
Yes,
in the nose.
No. I definitely don't think you guys look like brothers.
I don't think so.
You have a totally different skin tone than him.
Oh yeah, no, even that like pictures like maybe I got a 10. No, that's not the case. Even as kids, I was always the dark
Okay. My sister's a lot darker than I am.
So we'll see family pictures, and then everybody's kind of like more light skinned. I'm just sitting there on the side.
Yo, that's lit though. You got the tan.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our dad's pretty, like, he's closer.
Okay.
He's like a little darker.
And you guys, what ethnicity are you? Are you Mexican or?
We're Mexican.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Cool.
Both parents, 100% Mexican. We were born in the U.S.
Okay.
Mexican American.
Cool.
But oh shoot, I don't even know how to go about this. But let's see.
You were in prison.
Yeah, locked up, man.
Oh, shit.
So me and Oscar, as kids, we would always, obviously, you know, the sibling love. We'd always love to play games and do all these crazy things. And I think I don't remember when we first started like recording stuff, but this video got deleted, so we can't find it anymore. But we made a parkour video.
Nice.
Like years ago. How old were we?
Elementary school playground parkour video.
Yeah, like we thought we were cool, but then we saw it and we're like, oh, you know how playgrounds have like all these different colors.
Yeah,
It's purple over here, blue over here. We can't make that look cool, especially because we don't know parkour. So we were just like, I don't know, just jumping from here to here. And we thought we felt cool. You know how kids are.
It was like The Office. Have you seen The Office?
Yes.
It was just like that kind of
we're jumping from a dumpster.
It felt cool as hell until you saw it on camera.
Yeah.
And then he got this cut. Yeah, I think he still has a scar, but he probably felt like such a badass.
Oh, it's right there. It's all small now.
So we made a video and we put like a cool song behind it, and I think that's more closer to like when we first started like making videos.
How old were you guys?
We're kind of old already. We're like, what, 13?
Yeah, I was like 13. He was like 16.
That's young, bro.
So parkour video, we made it black and white because that's the cool, the way to do it.
Yeah,
it was black
this
and
is
white.
when YouTube was like newish.
Yeah.
Bro, 13 years old. You had, what was that, like 2016, 2015,
Like
2014?
yeah.
Here's the thing. Fitness YouTube didn't even pop off until 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're right, YouTube was new. So
It was very new. But yeah, no, that was our first video. We had was it Headstrong?
Headstrong.
You know the song Headstrong?
I feel like
Trap.
I know.
If it's a trap song, I definitely
Not a
know.
trap
it.
song.
If you played it, I
It's
probably
trapped.
know it.
It's the one that goes headstrong to take you on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was that song, a parkour video, black and white, really cringy little rolls and flips, and like that was our first video. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much how. I think that's how we started. But like, I would do my own
Did
thing.
this go viral or was this
Oh,
just
no,
for fun?
no.
Hell no.
This was strictly for fun.
Okay.
Like we were using like the Windows. What was the editing? It was like the very first Windows editing.
Oh wow,
software.
Yes,
I don't know what it was. Yeah,
something like maybe like Movie Maker or something like that.
I think it was Movie Maker.
Yeah.
With like
Or
the
is that
cone,
Apple?
Yeah.
the orange cone.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah.
So that's kind of how we started. I don't know if he actually continued like himself recording things, but when I was a kid, I would just record myself. There was an iPod Nano. It was like really tall and skinny, and I would record myself with my friend jumping off of like swings, and we would call ourselves like Mini Jackass.
Okay.
And that's all deleted
You know,
too.
the Jackass originated from our hometown.
yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, Bam Margera is from Westchester.
Ooh,
yeah,
we
that's
played
where
all
we're
those
from.
Tony Hawk games.
Yeah.
GameCube.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of how we got into it. And I would watch. I'd be in school, and I did not take school serious. Like I was somewhat knowledgeable, but I just never did any of the work.
Did you cheat a lot?
Yes,
I did too.
Actually,
That's why I'm asking.
I have
like,
interesting.
Did you cheat a lot, Alan?
No.
Really?
Nope. I just took the L. Which is
I
even
took it
worse.
like a man.
No, I was a cheater.
Like
I would go in the day after the test because they would put me in the testing room, and I knew the lady in the testing room didn't know the rules. So every test I took sophomore year, I came out with a 4.2 GPA. It was an open note test.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that attests to why I left school and became a business owner. Smart in different ways, not book smart. Not book smart.
I didn't like school either.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Please continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
The only reason I did good in school was because of I didn't want to disappoint my parents. Like it was just pure pressure. It wasn't I was good at it. I liked it. No, I think did you like school?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah.
I made it freshman year into college, and then I decided I was gonna just leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that.
Yeah. I never finished college, and then from that point on, I went straight into fitness. But I had tried like a bunch of other things, but it never caught my interest. I did not want to live. I didn't want to like work a normal 9 to 5. So now I work 24 hours a day. But I wanted to build something for myself, and that's like kind of where it stemmed from.
That's good. It's a hard decision to make, like, because it's a gamble. Like, oh shit, I'm either gonna be like I don't know, like unsuccessful, and everyone's gonna like, I'm gonna be so embarrassed, be a low life, or I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I didn't make any money with coaching for like 2 years, and then like, because like I was very stubborn with like hiring a coach, like a business coach. And like a business coach, like I didn't know marketing, I didn't know I didn't know systems for coaching people effectively, and I think that was like one of the biggest things.
What
like,
do you think it was
missing?
Was it ego?
Yeah. 100%. Okay. And the other thing too is that like I'd came from a place where like I did not believe in like outsourcing things, and then once I got that bug, now I outsource everything.
He is an outsource.
I will pay anyone to help me solve a problem faster rather than like stick with the problem for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Like then that's kind of like what it was like.
I think that's what holds people down the most is the ego of being able to, because we're Mexican, you're raised to do things yourself, right? I'm not gonna pay someone to fix my car. I'll just figure it out. It's gonna take me 10 hours versus like 10 minutes, but like I'm gonna do it. And when it gets to like your life, your career, you have to make a decision. Like what's more important to you, like your goals or your ego?
Yeah,
and that's when
he taught me how to outsource very well. I have friends who make fun of me at home because they're like, Alan's wasting all your money. Just because he literally teaches me to he taught me how to outsource, and like it's the reason I'm here. Like if you when you drop your ego and you're just like, yo, like I don't know, I don't even have a virtual assistant, but let's just like take that for example. Like when you are growing your coaching business and you're like, okay, I don't want to send 100 direct messages a day. I'll get a virtual assistant, it's just stuff like that. Like just dropping your ego and being like, I need to pay in order to get further,
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense, bro.
And here's the thing. You hate school. I'm sorry, we cut you off. We cut you off.
Oh, yeah. No,
Tell him, dude. Tell him.
High school, I used to cheat all the time, even like in elementary. But anyway, there was this time where I was in a math class. I think it was like sophomore year or something like that. And this is like the era of when like computers started going into, like laptops started going into the school system. So I'd get a laptop and I'd take it home with me, right? So one day I didn't bring my computer. I was in my math class and I was always just copying off my neighbor. And I was like, damn, like I wonder how he feels about it. So
he's just like,
yeah. He's like, yeah. So, but I didn't make myself look too smart because that'd be suspicious, right? So if they called me up to the front of the classroom to make me solve a problem, I'd be like, all right, you got me, But there was this one time where we were doing like some schoolwork, and I got onto the teacher was like, you know what, just use my computer. Got into computer, and I knew how to like inspect Element and stuff on Chrome, and her password, how it shows a bunch of dots.
Yeah.
I got her password. I made it into letters, and I was in her login from the grade book. So I was like, you know what, this is my chance. I was like giving myself good grades, and then I was on the football team, and I was like, you know what, my homie, I'm gonna hook him up.
No,
that's where I messed up.
That's
where I messed up because like I was already cheating, so I already kind of looked good. But some people that I brought them from an F to an A was suspicious. So Ariel. The word was out. She found out. She didn't know it was me, but she found out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get like suspended. My mom was gonna kill me. And she ended up finding out, but they never knew it was me. And then sure enough, another district like 2 months later did the same thing, but like a mass like thing, and they held everybody from graduating.
Holy shit.
So I kind of saved myself.
Yeah, what's funny about like cheating in high school is like, I remember I actually felt bad. We cheated in high school. I was the one that got everyone caught. Read a shit book. It was called like Little Women or something. Went on the website, forgot to paraphrase the answers good enough. Teacher was almost in tears. She was so frustrated. She like gave everyone like bad grades who did it, whatever. People don't understand that when you cheat in high school, it's to survive. It's not because you want to get good grades. It's like you literally have to cheat if you don't know the answers to get to college, to get to the next step. So it's like fight or flight. And it's not even like you're trying to be disrespectful. It's like you're trying to literally not like just clean streets for a living. No offense, it's someone, or like be a garbage man or shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like a fight or flight thing. So like For all of you who are watching,
I fucking disagree.
It's like, yeah, well, you stay disagreeing. I'm 4.2 sophomore year.
I got a 3.9 by myself. I'm proud of it.
Listen, I got 3.9s, but 3.7s, nah, 3.7, 3.6. But listen, that for all of you who are watching, don't be like, oh, Ariel's a fucking cheater. Like, dog. First of all, you cheated. I'm looking at you, the camera. You've cheated on your test hundreds of times. And the reason you do it is because it's like fight or flight. Like, you literally have to do it to get to the next level, or else you're fucked. So what are you gonna do?
To pass, not to learn.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's like, are you gonna get the good grades and have the opportunity to go into college and then like figure it out from there? Or are you gonna just like fuck yourself and disappoint your parents, all that shit?
I think there's a bigger argument for how the system's set up rather than like actually cheating. Because you're training to get good answers on a test instead of like solving problems and getting to different solutions and stuff.
The cheaters should be rewarded, because the cheaters that don't get caught, the cheaters that don't get caught are literally the masterminds. Like, they're the business owners.
I don't know. I had to disagree with that, because I remember the first time I ever tried to steal a candy bar from the store. My mom caught me, and I think if she didn't, I would have stole more stuff after that. So I was glad I got caught early. But before I forget, if you ever want to know, like, if you want a summary of what kind of personality, like, you know, Ariel is, my brother, is that. All right. He went to change his grades, but he was like, he could have stopped there, but he wanted to help out his homies.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So whenever I describe Ariel to anybody, is like, he has a heart. Right. Yeah. I'm more of like, I operate a little bit more selfishly, especially like my childhood. But if you ever want to know, you know, kind of person Ariel is like, he goes out of his way to help other people. And yeah, it's like one of the best quality you have.
Awesome. Cool. I actually didn't know that about myself. No, I did. But yeah, he's right. And that's pretty much essentially what I'm doing here in Houston is I came to help Oscar out with the videos and stuff. And I'm not like the best ever or anything like that. And I don't think I'll ever claim to be, but you know, I'm trying. I'm here learning. You know,
what do you do?
New thing. It's pretty much just helping them like record, whether it's TikToks. We're starting the YouTube out now, so that's kind of more along the way that I'm headed. But
Oscar, you should tell him your perspective on when you found out that like I was planning on bringing you over here, because you were at the prison, right?
Yeah, so
So he is in prison.
I was in prison, and I was a correctional officer. I was kind of joking at it earlier, but I was a correctional officer. I think I was there for like 2 years, and this is kind of around the same time that Oscar was like thinking, he was like doing TikToks here and there, and it was always like really cool seeing from my perspective. I was like, oh man, that's like something I've always wanted to do, is like be on camera. So before I worked at the prison, I worked at the airport. I worked with United Airlines. I was like, it was like a different third-party contractor or something like that. And the reason I took that job is because I wanted to go into acting. So I was like, if I work at the airport, I can get free flights. I'll go to like LA or something, go audition, and then, you know, I'll like be coming back and forth. So that was
amazing. That's amazing.
So let me backtrack a little bit. I went to college for 1 semester. I went to college for 1 semester, and I hated school already. I don't even know how I brought myself to go to college in the first place. But I was there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take all my classes. I thought it was bullshit that you had to take all these prerequisites. I was like, I just want to do my acting class, right?
Yeah.
So I got an acting class, and then I got a reading class, and I was going to get a math class. The math class didn't happen because I was too late. The reading class, I hated it. I went like once a week, and then the acting class, I did it 1 semester. And then towards the end of the semester, that's when my buddy from high school, which we happened to be in the same college class, he told me, he's like, yeah, I work at the airport. So I was like, oh man, like what's the process? Like, what are the flights? Like, do you get free flights? So he told me all this stuff, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to the airport. I ended up working there. I spent 3 years there, and not a single time did I go to LA for an audition. Never. I didn't even like plan it. So that was kind of out the window. And then I started working at the prison, and then this is 2 years go by. This is when Oscar's making more TikToks and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. And the prison, as an officer, my mental health was so bad. I would go home and I was just like, you know what? I can't do anything. I couldn't even play video games. I love playing video games, but I couldn't even do that because it took so much effort and energy.
You're just in like a dark place.
Yeah.
Like no one good goes to prison.
Absolutely.
Imagine that, bro. You're like constantly watching over your shoulder. Like I was in my head, as soon as you started working at the correctional officer, I was like, I need to be successful because I need to get him out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was weird. Like initially when he first started working there, I was like, I can't let him do that. Fuck.
And it was cool, you know, like for me, I was like, everybody, like, you know, I'm sure at some point in your guys' lives, you were like, oh, being a cop must be like super cool.
Yeah.
So I went into it, I was like, oh, like it's going to be just like movies. We're going to go hard every day.
We're going to go hard.
We're going to be getting into fights and this and that. And it was
the longest
like
yard.
That. I actually learned so much. Oh, that would have been awesome. We actually had a lot of conversations with inmates about that stuff. And they were like, oh, man, let's get it. These guys were jacked. That all they did was work out 24/7.
Really?
But, yeah, no, I forgot where I was going, but yeah, I was working at the prison, and I was looking at Austin.
You were saying something about what was that? I'm trying to like give you
because
your
I completely lost.
Yeah, you were saying, Oscar, help me. He was saying something about what he learned. Oh,
I was learning a lot. I learned like so much, and also keep in mind, I started working there, I think, at 20 years old, 21. Okay. I think 21 years old. So I'm still young. You know, the lowest that you can work right now in a prison is 18, which is insane.
Yeah. I can't imagine an 18-year-old doing fucking anything to stop a situation happening in a prison.
No, like there's so much like social cues and this and that, how to talk to people. You just don't know that.
What did you learn? You were like, I learned. Like
there was a lot, man. Like I can't even like pinpoint it, but respect is huge. So I thought like, you know, we'd be hard locked down. These guys they hate us, we hate them, and that's not the case. Like there's some people that are so genuine, and I met a lot of good inmates that have done very, very, very bad things, but they taught me so much. I would see these guys every single day. I'd see them when they're in a good mood, in a bad mood. And I already felt it as a correctional officer. I was like, if I feel this way mentally, I can't imagine how these guys feel.
Yeah.
And then they tell me their numbers of how long they're in there, 20 years. I'm like, what? 5 years. I'm like, okay, that's not that bad. But then I think about it, and I'm like, what was I doing 5 years ago? That feels like so long already. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just insane. Like
one thing that he did, because he's talking about the respecting, how respect is really valuable. He taught me that a lot of people think that like you being a correctional officer, like now you're secure, but like I think you told me if the inmates wanted to hurt you, they can hurt you.
They determine if we go home or not.
There you go.
At the end of the day, and
that's crazy.
Have you ever had like a situation, or maybe you saw like
so many?
Really?
Can you share one?
I'll share. This is usually my go-to.
Out of your like
I have
Rolodex of memories.
Let's see. I'll pick this one. Okay, this is the one at the top. So I think I want to say like a year and a half in or something like that, and there's 8. They're called housing units. So there's 9 total like units. It's a big complex. So there was I worked at one unit. It's called Winchester. And they have 8 housing units within that big unit. So it's like a apartment complex, and then each building is a separate unit, but it's all condensed, right? Each unit has 92 inmates. So there's 8 of them. So total, that's like 750-ish or so. You know, a lot of them come and go.
So it's not like cells. They're not like they're all in a home together.
Yeah,
right?
So I was in a medium custody unit, which is a level 3, and that's the lowest a lifer can go. That's the lowest they can go. So typically in a level 3, there's a lot of like armed robberies, a lot of aggravated assaults. There's a lot of murders, second degree, actually everything. But to put it into perspective, right? 92 inmates per housing unit. There's 8 housing units, and there's only 1 officer per housing unit. So we're outnumbered 1 to 92 in the building.
What?
Wow.
And these are not cells. This is a dorm setting. So it's set up where it's like a 6-pack, right? So there's double bunk bed right here, bunk bed right here, bunk bed right here, and there's just one hallway. There's only 2 exits: the way you came in or the very back.
Real quick, hold your thoughts. Yeah. What is keeping? And I understand you're about to like go into this, but what is keeping on a normal basis those 92 people from not literally snapping your neck and like getting the hell out of there?
The inmates are. So they all hang out with their race. So there's the Mexican nationals, there's the Chicanos, there's the blacks, the whites, the natives, and they each have how do you call it, like a head that controls the entire race there.
Like a prison. It's literally a prison gang.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And then within the house, so there's like one main one that controls that unit specifically, or that complex specifically. Then you go to the unit. And then housing unit, there's like pod bosses. So they keep their people in check. That's pretty much what stops them from killing each other, essentially. They have all these kinds of rules, you know what I mean? And the crazy thing is we kind of have to work with them. obviously they can't get what they want all the time, but they have to work with us and we have to work with them. That's how we kind of keep the peace.
God, this is the most absurd thing I've heard in a while.
So you walk into the dorm and they're all there. And anytime you walk in, as soon as you pass the doors, there's always like a lookout or a couple. One time, that's what you hear. One time. So they're signaling to everybody, all right, put your phones away, put your drugs away, put your whatever you have, your shanks. Yeah. And they have like secret compartments and this and that, just like in the movies. So I was just putting it into perspective, but it's like one big, it's like a big track, right? So there's a big field and it's gated, and then they have a basketball court, they have workout machines, no free weights or anything like that, at least not in state. In federal, I hear there is, but not in state. Okay. So I'm working outside. My job is a yard officer. So I'm kind of making sure everybody gets to where they have to go. They're not hanging out. They're not over here bullshitting and doing stupid stuff. And at this point, 4 of those housing units were out working out onto the rec field. All the gates are closed. So there are 4 houses. That's probably like 300 inmates, right? So there was like this green tarp that they had over a Ramada, and they're not allowed to have that. So somebody got on the radio, hey, this needs to come down. So I'm the yard officer, so I'm the one that has to be in charge. So, okay, open the gate, go in there, and this is the Mexican nationals. So I tell them, hey, I got to take this down. You're not allowed to have it. Nobody moves but one guy, and this was a table full, probably like, I want to say 12 people.
Did it help that you are Mexican, or just like not fucking at all? Okay,
absolutely.
It did. Okay,
absolutely. I already had built that rapport with them.
Okay, cool.
So I go in there, one person moves, everybody's kind of just like, oh, we run this. Like, what are you doing here? And they're kind of just looking at me. I go to pull down one side, and it's probably like this big. It's pretty big. I go to pull one side, I'm yanking on it. It's not coming down, and then I yank hard, and it comes down one side. Then I go to the other side, and same thing. I'm like pulling on it, and it's not coming down. So I yanked it super hard, boom. And then it slaps the back of an inmate's head. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. So then I thought he was joking because he was holding his head. He's like, like as if he was in pain. But it's a tarp. It's like a blanket, And I was like, how is that going to hurt you? Maybe he's just trying to play the game. Oh, police brutality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all the inmates around the table, they're kind of like looking. They're like, what just happened? And then I'm standing there. I'm like kind of nervous, but I've already like been through some crazier shit, so I'm not as nervous. So I roll it up like this tarp, and I'm rolling it up, and I get to the end, and there's a rock, probably about this big, on the end of it. That's what hit him in the head. That big ass rock hit him in the head, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh God, I'm about to have a terrible day, right? Yeah. So then when I realized, that's when everybody else realized. So they're like, what? So they're all cussing me out in Spanish. They're calling me a piece of shit. They say I have no respect for them and this and that. It's like cop versus inmates at this point. And I was alone in that situation. I'm alone with 350 inmates around. My closest partner, he's like probably one of my best friends. He was behind the inmates. So I was all surrounded, and he was behind them. He couldn't get to me. So I'm getting yelled at. I'm like, shit, like, I don't know what's about to happen. Like, it's about to be fight or flight. And then the next table is the Chicanos. Even though technically they don't run together, they're still Mexican.
Okay.
That's what I thought. So I was going to ask.
Chicanos, like...
It's Mexican-American. Okay. And then I'm at the table with the Mexican nationals.
I'm over here thinking something totally different.
Bro, I didn't know shit. I didn't want to sound like... I didn't want to sound like I didn't know culture. I was like, the Chicanos.
Yeah, so Mexican nationals and then Mexican-American. Technically, they're kind of united, but they're also separate. Because they have different different gangs. So then they're like, hey, what's up, OG? Like, you good? So then all of them come over, and now there's even more of them. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm like, look, man, like, it was an accident. They're cussing me out. I was like, it was an accident. I told you guys I was going to take it down. None of you guys moved. So, it's kind of your fault. You know what I mean? I didn't know. You guys weren't supposed to have it. You guys hung it up, but you guys didn't move. So my partner can't get to me. The only thing that saved me is that the guy that I hit, he was like, oh, you know what? I heard you. So he kind of got everybody off my back, but they were still like pissed off at me. So I was like what am I going to do?
He was saying that like I heard you tell us to move and we didn't. So it kind of like he was blaming himself almost. Yeah,
pretty much. So he's like, oh, I understand. Like it was an accident. I heard you say it, but I didn't move. So, it's okay. But he's still like in like pain. I don't know if you've ever had a concussion, but you're kind of like seeing blurry. You're like really dizzy, nauseous. Yeah. So that's what he was feeling. So I take him to the medical unit, and we're sitting there. The nurse is like evaluating him, and he's holding his head. He can like barely like keep his eyes open. And she's like, well, I heard somebody threw a rock at your head. Is that true? And then she's like, do you know who it was? And he points at me. He's like, yeah, it was him. And I'm kind of standing there. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then she's like, did you hit him in the head? And I was like, yeah, it was an accident. And she looked at me and she was so pissed. She was like, really? And I was like, come on, man, like orange and brown, you know? And so I felt so bad. I told the guy, I was like, look, man, I'm so sorry. And he was like seeing blurry. He ended up going to the hospital in an ambulance from the prison. So I'm talking to my supervisor. I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get my ass chewed.
Wait, what the hell's orange and brown? I'm so sorry.
Orange is inmates and brown is correctional officers. Okay. So I was wearing, that's kind of how we separate each other.
But here's where I'm confused. He said you threw a rock at his head?
No, the nurse misinterpreted. She thought that I threw a rock.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Sorry.
Please just a miss. My bad. I suck at explaining things.
No, you don't. I just didn't know if like that was a detail we should have known. Like I didn't know if you took the blame for something you didn't do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, they don't usually get the whole story, and they weren't there obviously, so they kind of interpret it in their own ways. So I'm thinking I'm getting my ass chewed when I go talk to my superiors, and I go over there, and the first thing they say is like, hey man, I'm like, what, did you really just hit my favorite inmate? And I was like, oh, okay, they're kind of like chill about it and not taking it serious. And I still felt bad. Like it kind of eased me off a little bit, and I still felt bad. But anyway, he comes back to the hospital. He still has vision problems. He's seeing blurry. He's got like those really dark glasses. So I messed him up pretty good.
Damn.
And then I go on the system. I still feel like shit.
Punchline right here.
I go in the system on the computer because I had access, and I look up what he did. The first thing I see is second-degree murder or first-degree murder. I'm like, okay, interesting. So I look to see what's in there. And this guy was on a date with his wife or girlfriend or something, and they got home, and he started punching her in the face, until she got to the ground. Once she was on the ground, this motherfucker goes to the other room, gets an aluminum baseball bat, comes back, smashes her head in. So at this point, I'm like...
You're finding this out after.
Yeah, like a week later.
You're like, why did he not do anything to me but did that to his girlfriend?
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I was like, bro, I do not feel guilty or bad at all. This is like full circle karma.
Yeah.
So
oh my
literally,
God.
Like concussion,
like
rock
up,
head.
Man,
he beat his, what is it, wife?
It was the wife or girlfriend, I don't remember.
And,
Damn.
like destroyed her head, like
straight up, like smashed her head in, man. So
holy shit.
So like, how many people can say they hit an inmate, or not an inmate, a first-degree murderer in the head with the rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
got and like you got away.
I got alive, bro. I'm here. You know what I mean?
Fuck, that's crazy.
That's one of my good stories.
Holy shit.
Did you ever fear for your life in that situation, or were you kind of like...
You know what? There's not a single moment that I feared for my life in prison.
Interesting.
Which is fucking crazy because I've seen shanks. There's like some big dudes.
Yeah.
But I always felt invincible when I started. And it took me like a year and a half to realize I'm not invincible in here. But I was good at communicating with these guys. I set like firm rules and stuff like that. So there was respect from them to me and me to them. So that's kind of what...
Very cool.
That's kind of how nothing happened to me essentially. Damn. But I've been in situations where crazier than that, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is absurd.
Oh, that's my background, and I'm here. I'm here supporting my brother, and I'm still kind of transitioning. I know you guys are kind of a little bit more ahead of me, but I'm still transitioning into that disciplined mindset.
That's a myth.
No. Well, at least in my eyes, I don't know how you guys see it, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like in the smaller part of the room back here in the corner, and I'm kind of looking up at you guys.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get it.
We're all equal.
I'm normal anytime you move.
I'm still getting
now.
into that discipline stage, you know, waking up on time, you know, having that drive. I'm still kind of transitioning because I was always comfortable, kind of like him, because I learned a lot from him, and I got a lot from him. So the way he was is very similar to the way I was, because that's who I looked up to right here.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
now that
makes
I'm
sense.
seeing him like kind of scale up and doing these big things, I'm like, oh shit, like I can do that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so interested, just really much like cap it all off. Like, what would be the advice that you guys would give to people who want to get into fitness or want to follow their dream? Like, what's your number one piece of advice from all that you just told us, including you too, because you straight up like you went from correction officer to you're a content filmer now. Like, what would be the advice you would give to like these guys out here in order to like,
I mean,
make it do what they want to do?
Shoot, you know, for me, for what I did was Oscar told me about this. He was like, hey man, you know, you should come work with me, and we can like do this video thing. I mean, you love doing it already, so what's stopping you? And he told me, he was like, it would be a pay cut, but what would make you happier? What would like relieve you more? Being in prison, being I didn't even get paid that much. It was like $20 an hour, I think 19 or something like that, which is not a lot for those situations that like I've been in. But he was like, would you rather do that or kind of take a little pay cut and be somewhere happier? And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, no, you're right. Essentially, yeah, that's basically what it was. And it was kind of last minute for me also. He told me about this, and my plan was to move. Right now, we're in August. My plan was to move sometime in November, just so I can get rid of all my debt, save up, and stuff like that. And he was like, "No, dude, you got to pull the trigger. There's an opportunity right now.
Beautiful.
Like, I would love to have your help." He told me this was his words. I would feel wrong if I offered a position to somebody else rather than you. And that was like, okay. So this was like on a Saturday, and that next Monday, I told him, I was like, "Hey, 2 weeks are in. I'm just going to give you that courtesy because I respect the people, not necessarily the department." And he was like, that's pretty much what it was. I came over here with my family. They helped me move also, and I'm staying with Oscar right now.
It's amazing.
So just, kind of take risks, make decisions, do what makes you happy, even if it's a little pay cut. That's my advice.
It's a good one. That's solid.
It's beautiful.
My advice? Oh, shoot, this is a hard one. So I think the one word I would use is like pressure. Like if you, someone who masters being able to, I know it sounds really unhealthy, but if you can master the art of being able to put amount of pressure on you, that's when you're gonna get to a point where you're either gonna sink or swim. Most people swim, but people don't ever take the risk. But if you could, it's really simple, right? I would put so much unnecessary pressure on myself, but I'm not gonna call it unnecessary. But like, think about it. If you're like right now watching this podcast and you have these goals, dreams, and ambitions, and something as simple as you getting up and you're not feeling like going to work out, right? What's going to happen? This is my thought process. If I don't go work out right now, and I'll go real deep, right? If I don't go out or work out right now, my integrity is going to get hit a little bit. Right now, I don't trust myself. Now, whenever I say something, it's not going to mean anything, right? Because I don't follow through with it. And then what's going to happen when my integrity goes out the window? I'm going to not be confident, obviously, because I'm not working now. And the next time I have to work out, I'm most likely not going to go. Now my self-esteem is low, right? My self-esteem is low. Now I got all these insecurities. Now whenever I find, if I'm not secure about myself, I'm not going to find a good girlfriend, right? And then I just keep going, right? I keep going. I'm going to be a bad boyfriend. I'm going to be all controlling and insecure. And I'm going to be that one kid that's just like being really toxic.
Wow.
And then that's going to turn into, I play the scenario game. Like what's going to happen if you don't do that one thing that you've been avoiding doing? What's going to happen if you don't do it? And then bam, right? What's going to happen if you don't if you're insecure? You're not going to feel confident. You're not going to feel confident about anything you do now. Anytime you like think, oh, I want to try this out, this new hobby out, this new passion out. I want to go chase my dreams. I want to start a business. You won't have the confidence. So now you're going to slowly kind of like eat away and go back to the depressed stage and so on. And you're going to go and like, I literally will put myself in a scenario where you're going to be miserable working at like a graveyard shift job that's paying you very little, where every time you have a day off, you're going to be sitting there like not even being able to enjoy your day off. You're already thinking about Monday when you have to clock back in. And you can't enjoy your like weekend off just because, and that's going to be miserable. And that's like the difference between people suffering than somebody kind of taking that's like the pain versus suffering, right? Pain or that uncomfort is you like going to work out if you don't want to. But if you like avoid pain for so long, that's when you suffer, right? And your life will literally just be suffering. All those people, those relatives that you see around you that are just like depressed, they've already gave up on all their goals and ambitions. Most people give up. Like that's why most people, become overweight. They're just working the job that they have to work and they just accept life that way. And they take like, you can get into the blue pill, red pill talk and whatnot, but they take that blue pill and they just decide to ride the river, right? Ride the wave of whatever the government has you do.
They're upset with the people who took the quote unquote red pill.
What's that?
As in they're like upset at the people.
And they're, because the moment you take the red pill and you realize your potential, now it's like, how are you going to sit there and do nothing when you know you're capable of so much?
Yeah.
Right? It's like once you take the red pill and you know what you're capable of, if you're not growing or succeeding, you feel like you're dying. Like you feel like you legit like are going downhill. Like whenever I stall in my progress, I feel shitty. Like I get anxious. I get depressed. Like I'm just like, right. So I put so much pressure on myself to get back on track because I know the impact I can have on the world. I know the lives I can change. I know that me being an online coach, I can change so many lives. I know that me doing these skits is making people laugh. People love it. People are connecting to me. I'm inspiring other people to like make content, do skits, start trends, like all this kind of stuff. And if I just decide to just sit down and not do nothing and skip the gym one day, all that goes away kind of thing. So that's my suggestion is if you master the art of adding that pressure to yourself, then it's like procrastinators. They thrive on pressure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was very, very, very.
That was a long answer.
That was well put. That was beautifully put.
You wrapped it up nicely.
It was beautifully put. And the reason I said to top it off is because, believe it or not, we're coming up at an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
And an hour and a half.
Damn.
I know, right? And
it always flies by pretty quick.
Why are you kicking me? I'm sorry. No, I thought you were kicking. I thought he was kicking me like stop talking. No, I thought he was. No.
Shut up.
No, but so we'd love to have you guys back on again because I feel like there's so much more we would talk about. But for now, why don't you drop your socials? And basically, tell the people where they can find you.
They could find me at Oscar Acosta Fit on Instagram or TikTok. Those are the main ones.
And the YouTube, plug that YouTube. You said
dude, if they find me on Instagram, they're gonna find me on everything.
All right, word. Fair enough.
Oscar Acosta on YouTube, just in case people want to find the YouTube.
For me, it's Ariel_HD on Instagram. OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. But Ariel,
if you want to see Ariel naked in the bedroom,
feet pics.
You know what I mean? Gotta make that moolah.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys so much for coming on.
I appreciate you guys.
It's fucking awesome conversation.
Just remember that you're up next.
Yeah,
you're up next, and you guys too. Great job, guys.
Hell yeah.
Wait. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys. Subscribe and hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
You don't know how much it helps. We love you.
Turn the notification bell on.
Yeah.
Yes, that too.
And never forget, ever, that you're up next.